We gather on Holy Thursday to celebrate the feast of the Lord's Last Supper. And it's an interesting opportunity when we gather together around the table, when we come together to break bread with each other, to share the stories of our lives, to get to know one another. We gather here this day in the school cafeteria to remind ourselves that we break bread with all of you, and that as we break bread with all of you, Christ is present, and Christ remains with us and stays in our hearts and through our life's journey. And so as we gather here this day, we remember that Christ gathered with his friends to celebrate the Passover, to remember that God liberates us from death to life. And so as we come together here at the table, it's vastly important that we recognize that in the Eucharist, Christ continues to liberate us from the worries, anxieties, fears of life. That Christ continues to walk with us through the journey of our lives. And he shows us how we must use our lives in service for each other. And so on this day, when we gather here at the table, we're reminded to wash one another's feet, to care for each other, just as you have through the midst of this pandemic, how you have generously given and become Christ in the world for each other. We gather this day in this sacred space to remember that when we break that gift of bread with one another, Christ is present in our lives, strengthening us in faith, calling us to service for each other. And then we move to the agony of the garden to remember that in the time that Christ was tested and challenged in his life, we're asked to remain with him, to stay with him, to be with him. And so as we gather here to celebrate this Holy Thursday, it's vastly important we remain with each other and remain in the presence of Christ with each other. May your Holy Thursday meal bring you health of body, mind, and spirit. May that Holy Thursday meal continue to sustain you as you serve one another. May that Holy Thursday meal help you grow in the Spirit of Christ for one another. Blessings on you all. St. John Baptist de la Salle, Our Lady of Lourdes, live Jesus in our hearts forever.